Monday, September 7th, 2022, 8 a.m. Neighborhood Restoration Beautification Commission meeting. We'll start with roll call.
Lucas Richardson.
Here.
Kelly Greavy.
Here.
John McCracken. Absent. Jermaine Sullivan.
Here.
Mary Kay Wilcox.
Here.
Okay, next item is approval of last meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Lucas Richardson.
Yes.
Kelly Greavy.
Yes.
Jermaine Sullivan.
Yes.
Mary Kay Wilcox.
Yes.
All right. Now to talk about the big day here on Saturday. First thing is, we should have talked about this in previous meetings, but we missed it. Meeting place and time. What is everybody's preference for that? To meet City Hall, 8 a.m. is my recommendation. Is anybody?
You could probably just meet right out here.
Yeah.
That's
well,
okay, right?
okay. City Hall parking lot.
Yeah. You want to do it 8 a.m.?
8 a.m. work for everybody?
Yep. Works for me.
Okay. All right. I think we should just vote on it, just to,
Okay.
I guess, roll call.
Lucas Richardson.
Yes.
Kelly Greavy.
Yes.
Jermaine Sullivan.
Yes.
Mary Kay Wilcox.
Yes.
All right, 8 a.m. City Hall parking lot. I'm gonna skip to 3B3 here. Mary Dilworth and I got together and we sent out an email to all the volunteers that were on the list. I think we've got a couple of them that responded, and one of them being the Wellflower.
Right.
They said that their whole company could come, or a portion of them could come on the day. Do you know how many waivers we're at right now?
We have, from the list, there 21 people have signed waivers.
Is that including
That
us?
includes you guys. Yeah.
Okay. So potentially you could have 21 people come on Saturday, which is
But
awesome.
that's not people who've committed to helping, right? That's just
No, that's just people who have signed
Yeah.
waivers. And a couple of them in their emails asked, are you
Yeah.
going to be sending out information about it?
Right, right. So after this meeting, I think we can send out another one, because we have the time and the place
Yeah.
where we're gonna meet. I'm gonna contact Bill Gamble, the city manager. He wanted to know the same thing. So that way he can contact city staff. And the News Advocate is gonna also ask me questions today about that. So we might even get some more. So I think if we could have like 20 to 30 waivers printed off, volunteer waivers for that day.
Okay.
Just when people show up, we can have them sign it.
So meet here at 8 o'clock. Is there a time frame for registration and briefing? Are you?
I think we could maybe wait 15 minutes. I think that's
fair.
not fair for.
You might want to wait a little longer than that, I would think, because you want to have people come, right? And then sign waivers, and there's going to be a little this, and there's probably someone's going to talk to them. Here's some vests, here's the projects, here's where we're going first. It's like a whole briefing, I would imagine, correct? So you might want to give it a little bit more, give yourself some more time.
Till like 8:30.
Do I have it right that we're going project by project?
Yeah. 'Cause-
Okay.
So that way we don't have to spare too many officers. I was
You know
assuming.
what? The chief law enforcement officer of the city will be there, so I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, well, I think that's what we had talked about in previous meetings. Was
Sure.
that it would just be you, so we would go to project by project.
We have 28 vests. This is John McCracken sent me this. His group did this. We have 28 vests. So if we get more than 28 people, we're not gonna have vests for them. I don't know if we're gonna have 20 people. If we do, we'll have a learning experience. So just this, so this group knows what our resources are. And I have 50 or so safety glasses, I have earplugs, gloves, things like that. So just during this 30 minutes, signing waivers, here's your vest, and there's probably going to be a huddle up. Okay, here's what we're doing, and probably I would imagine some safety talk. I would say don't do A, B, and C. Don't we whack each other's faces, here's some safety protocols, here's who's in charge of the project, thank you for being here, there's a whole, I would imagine a whole briefing thing, I mean, to
So
be honest.
we could potentially have 20 volunteers at one.
Potentially, and so I think you gotta be flexible, go, hey, okay, we got, cause you're not gonna know till game day.
Right.
Who shows up. You might have 20 people say, I'm ready to go, and then Saturday, you get 3 people. So I think you gotta be flexible, ready to pivot, go, hey, we got 20 here? How about you 10, Lucas this, and Kelly this, or whatever? We can be flexible on game, that's part of the briefing. Looking at what you have here and say, oh, geez, we've got a lot more here. Okay, give me this group, let's go do these simultaneously, let's talk about, all that can be covered on the briefing of the game day or before we even go out there, so. You're not gonna have 20 people in somebody's yard, it's just not, people aren't gonna
Right.
fit. So, that's my recommendation to this group.
So that comes down to if that happens, are you okay that we don't have an officer at the property then?
I don't know if I am.
Right. That's.
What's
I
that?
thought was.
I don't know if I am.
I thought we had to do.
Yeah, we're not gonna have a police officer the whole project at the properties.
Right.
I don't have that many cops, so I'll be at one and I can have an officer check. I don't think there's any issues with these leftover properties here. There shouldn't be any issues. And just because we're kind of getting to we initially had 6 projects. I think it was 6 in First Street.
5 in First Street.
Now we're down to 4. So I won't talk about the specific address, but Elm Street is taken off the list because I wasn't able to make contact there, and we're not comfortable with recommending that. And then a 4th Street project. 4th Street project has already been completed by John McCracken, so that's off the list. So there's 4 projects, 4 residences, plus First Street if we get to it. And all 4 of those cases, police officers have been out there at least once, talked to them. They're very thankful to have us. They're willing to help out any way possible. And that is 5th Avenue, 4th Avenue, Maple, and 5th Street. And I've been out to 2 of those personally and had extended conversations. So we'll still have officers popping in and out, but we're not gonna have a police officer there the whole time. I can't sustain that, except for myself, so. The biggest thing is having someone there initially, and I don't anticipate any issues.
Okay. We could always use the First Street project as like the fallback if we have too many volunteers at a residence.
Yeah, I can tell you right now,
That one we kind of approach them, so.
on the project that John McCracken did this past weekend, that took him longer than he anticipated. And so it all depends on volunteers and what happens at each residence, and I think 4 is a very healthy number. I don't know how long this group plans on working till, but on First Street, we have to make sure we have enough resources, meaning enough water hose. And I've worked it out with Kaylee Owens and water. I think I sent this email out, but just to be clear, they can take, we have the exact date and time of our NRBC water usage. They can take that, instead of having the homeowner pay that bill, this group can pay that bill if they so choose to do it that way. I mean, it doesn't make any sense I think that what I heard from this group is, how do we get water there without having the homeowner pay for it to clean the wall? It doesn't sound like the hydrant, there's interest there because of what it takes to get a meter, is it a meter?
It's just the efforts to hook it up to the.
Yeah, I think I talked to Kaylee Owens, she said, yes, it's possible. We could take, on this day, this time frame, take that money, and the NRBC can pay for that if they so choose.
We would pay for just the water rate, or would we combine the water and sewer rate on it?
I didn't talk about sewer.
Because if they don't have a sprinkling meter, then it's gonna read as both.
I think Kaylee Owens felt like she had a pretty good grasp on that. So the answer to that, I don't know. But the biggest question is, there's a way for the homeowner not to pay for that if this group wants to pay for it that way. And I can't remember the number, and I can follow up. But they gave me a number. I don't want to say it seemed minimal, but it didn't seem overwhelming. I just don't know how much water is going to be used to power wash that wall. I don't remember the rate. but the rate they told me didn't alarm me. So I can report, let me send the email today or tomorrow with the exact amount. It's like X amount of dollars for X amount of thousand gallons. I can report that rate back, I just don't remember what it was. So, and if that group wants to do that, we need to have a consensus, that's the way we want to do it. If we are planning to put First Street on the list for Saturday or not, I don't know what this group is doing. Everyone's looking at you.
How are you? I must not understand a power washer, because how are you going to get a hose from that house to the wall?
You have to have multiple hoses hooked up, that's the only way you can do it.
150.
Where are you getting the hoses? And
We own,
power
we
source?
being LRBC, own two 50-foot hoses. I don't know what the distance is.
And the city, I borrow the 100-foot hose all the time.
But don't you need a power source too?
Yeah, we need an extension cord too. Or no, this
No,
is
we have a
gas.
gas.
It's gas, I'm sorry, that's, we picked out a gas one for that reason.
Yeah.
We talked about it, so that it can be a little more independent. So if this group wants to try to put that on the list for Saturday, I think it would be ambitious, but we would need to know how much hose we need.
I thought we were gonna hook up to a house that was closest and give them the,
Yeah, there
Personal.
really isn't one.
We went out there and looked to see, and it's just not, the
There's-
one is probably not an option.
Yeah, one is a problem.
Yeah, it's
There's a
probably not an
problem.
option.
oh,
It's
okay.
probably not feasible to cross the street.
And it's not.
No,
You need road
so it's
cars.
doable, but there's some challenges. I mean, to be honest with you, it's ultimately this group's idea, but that might be something we do at a different time. I don't know.
I
I think-
think it's, I mean, now that, I mean, if somebody could reach out to DPW and, I mean, I could do that to see if we can borrow that
And
100
too,
foot hose.
I borrow it all the time.
So if we can borrow that 100-foot hose, then we have another 100-foot, I think that.
Is it
will be
200?
enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, we can walk that off today, tomorrow, to figure out,
Can look
We
on the
being-
aerial right now.
just to see how much we have. And so do I have it right? This group wants to do the 4 houses and the wall. Is that on the project list? Whether we get to it all or not, that's the project list.
I believe so, yeah.
I think what you're gonna find is if you have 20 volunteers, I think you're gonna have to be successful. But you also have to plan that sometimes you have these things and on game day, 4 people show up.
Yeah.
Or none.
So the city, I think the city is putting city employees, or I think Bill Gamble's putting it out to city employees if they wanna participate, so, yeah, I think the 4 houses and the possible wall, is good. And then, to be honest with you, if we have, I would recommend this group have about 3 little beautification projects in the back pocket. I know John McCracken sent out some high grass stuff in the right of way. We might wanna have that in our pocket in case we get a bunch of volunteers. And, this group kicks some butt and gets things done really well. We can go bang out 3 more projects. And I don't wanna call them projects, more beautification. So I'd have those in your back pocket. Maybe you don't need it, but if you have a bunch of volunteers in this scenario and all of a sudden in 5 hours you're done, you go, I've got volunteers for an hour, 2 hours, how can I utilize this resource while we got them here? I'd have something in your back pocket you could do. That's my recommendation to this group. Does that make sense? Equipment,
Oops, right. Can I just ask Lucas one thing? Are you gonna be the speaker then to have
I can do that.
prepared for that day so we know what we're doing? Okay.
Mm. Yeah, I planned on having like the list of the projects that we've compiled, printed out, and then maybe like which ones make sense to go to first.
Okay.
And
And then
then-
our safety for everybody and everything.
Yeah, but I think
Okay. All right.
Chief and I can handle that.
Okay.
I think the key is just supervision. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that we have projects that involve chainsaw. Maple Street is probably a chainsaw one. That's where you start getting a little bit, but for the most part, it's weed whacking, weed pulling, moving stuff. So yeah. Does everyone here have a good grasp on what equipment the NRBC currently has? And then, I will be bringing equipment from my home, weed whacker, blower, rakes, shovels. NRBC equipment is labeled as such in RBC. I think we have 20 or 30 bags left over still. So probably need people to bring things. Tools would probably be best too, so.
I think if anybody's gonna bring their own stuff, they should probably put labels on it as well. With their names.
So just so we have a good grasp of what's out there,
Alright, to move back to the volunteers, I was gonna ask Jermaine if you could reach out to the other council members. Bill's taking care of the staff members, we said, and then I was gonna ask Kelly, so the seeds group, you don't think that's a
I
possibility?
know for a fact, they won't be coming back here until the 12th, and that's still,
Just one. And then, okay, so, and you already said we have all the waivers, property waivers, that we're gonna be doing on those 4 projects, not
We do.
Bell Street,
we do.
okay? Volunteer waivers, we have 21, we said. And
And I would just be prepared if homeowners are home. I still want to try to go out today, tomorrow, and just let everyone know the date and time these projects are gonna happen, these homeowners.
you said you or the officers are gonna do that? Is
Not
that-
the officers, me.
You
Yeah,
are.
Unless someone from the group wants to, but I just assume go out there, try to make contact, say, hey, it's gonna be this Saturday. They don't know, a time yet, or date and time, we haven't really solidified that. Or maybe I gave them the date because we knew that, but we don't have time. And it's always nice to have more contact, with them.
So morning to early afternoon is probably.
Do we
the
have a
latest.
quitting time? What's the group here? Just, I mean, we talked about the time we kind of moved down. What's the quitting time here? What are we all comfortable with? What time are we not working past, I guess is more appropriate. Do we have a time that this group feels comfortable not working past?
I'm okay with whatever, so I'll take it.
Forever. I don't know how long.
So we'll assess that project by project as the day goes on? Okay.
Yeah, I think what will happen is you'll have some volunteers that'll wither out if they
Sure.
get tired
Or they have to leave. Big deal.
and we can be as ambitious as we want, and if we don't get some of them done, we don't get some of them done. It's just the name of the game. So I think we can probably vote on the water supply for First Street if everybody's okay with taking that out of the NRBC budget. I don't think it would be more than a couple $100 to pay for the water, and that's probably on the high end. I think it's something like $20, $30 per 1,000 gallons.
You said that we could tap into the fire hydrant though, if need be.
Yeah, so
I think that's the safer route, because that's not a straight shot from the house. I mean, that's a rugged,
mhm.
I just feel like that's not, because I know you're gonna be the one power washing that.
oh, good.
That's not a safe terrain. That's all in, nobody's touched that in years. Like, I don't think that's the proper route to go, to try to put a hose through all those trees and brush and down that hill. And you're gonna have to keep going up and moving it. I mean, if it's 100 and something feet from the house, and we don't know where the water supply is on the house, it could be on the driveway side. You're gonna have to go all the way around. I don't think that's a safe option. I think the fire hydrant, if it's gonna cost $30, $40 more, is a safer.
I will
Well-
say, though, I've trucked those hoses everywhere.
A couple
Yeah, but
things
you're gonna
to
have to
cons-
keep going up and moving it to,
A
Well, the
couple
power
things
washer
to
would be down on the
consider
sidewalk.
is I've had conversations with the DPW director, reference the fire hydrant. I don't think that's an option.
How about this? How about maybe Kelly, do you want to go out there with me for 20 minutes?
Sure.
And we could just do a trial with the hose before.
okay.
When this came up during this group about the fire hydrant option, my conversation, the consensus was that wasn't gonna be an option for this group. I can try to reapproach that, but I don't want that to be contingent on that.
I would prefer to do that on a different day, though, because I would like to work with everybody on the you know, on Saturday.
Projects.
Yeah.
Are we, on that particular stretch, are we also doing the landscaping on that, or are we just power washing that?
There's a lot of bush. Yeah, when I looked at it too, the sidewalk was all
Yeah.
overgrown too. I think if we
Right,
could do
so-
that, that'd be awesome. Right now, a wheelchair definitely cannot go down that hill.
Oh, no, I don't think much of anything.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if we're out there, let's hit it all. I mean, the sidewalk, we really technically don't need permission because it's a property of the city, even though it's the homeowners.
Because that would look really good going down.
Yeah.
That would be taken care of.
Sure. Why would you clean up the wall if it's, yeah, I get it. So,
Yeah, and there's some overhanging trees too. We could trim
Right.
down.
and it might be a good rep using our, what do we have? What's that? We have an edger, we have
Weed whacker?
a weed whacker, but can you take grass out of the sidewalk with a power washer?
Yeah, but once you hit it with a power washer, you can pull it out by
You really just need a shovel, honestly.
That's a great point, and we have a flat shovel, I think we bought for something like that.
Yeah, we have
That's a great
spade.
point as far as if we're gonna clean the wall, let's go ahead and do everything else, so.
I think for that, I would wear an N95 mask. That wall is nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, to power wash, not to shovel, but
We
to
don't.
power wash.
This group doesn't have any mass, so
Well,
it's.
no, I'm gonna get one, but it's the first time I'm,
We have any.
So, are you free after this?
Yeah.
Right after this meeting? Okay, maybe we can just go and look at it
Okay.
together and see if it's viable, and then I can send a message to everybody individually about if we think it's feasible or not.
okay.
If it's not feasible, I can have another conversation with the DPW director. But, yeah, putting the meter on the hydrant, I forget what he estimated the cost to hook the meter up to the hydrant would be, so, I know that conversation led us to this conversation, so we'll see what this is, and then we can always report back.
I think, so we should vote for either way, if we do the hydrant way or through the home.
Do they pay for my NRVC funds?
Yeah, to use NRBC funds to pay for the water that is used for the retaining wall on First Street. So I'll make that motion.
Second.
Good. Good
No,
discussion.
can I ask a question? I know that I was the one who said it should be reimbursed, but should the homeowner take care of that? Is it their responsibility to take care of that wall?
So that's just the same with a lot of the blight projects that we're doing. I think what we're gonna try to address to them is like, okay, we cleaned this big project. Now, we would like it for you to maintain it the best that you can.
Okay.
Because it is a big area, and I don't know if they would have ever done anything with it.
Mhm.
But the sidewalks, I think when you talked to him, he didn't even know that was his responsibility, right?
The sidewalks are his responsibility?
That's technically on his property there, so.
So the sidewalks are owned by the city, but they're the responsibility of the homeowner to maintain.
Oh,
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
We have no sidewalks.
I think because it's so far away from the house that
Yeah,
nobody ever,
No.
Sure.
thinks about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
A motion and a second for using the water supply regardless of if it's from the homeowner or the hydrant to pay for the water out of the NRBC funds.
How much do we have left? Oh, I'm sorry. How much do we have left in the budget?
I'm gonna say approximately 1,000. I can give you a harder number,
Oh,
look
no,
into
that's
it.
fine.
But just keep in mind that
Till
is for
July.
this budget, the budget goes from now until July 1 of next year. So presumably those funds can be used for next year's project. So we're July 1 budget here in City of Manistee, so
Or they could be taken out of the budget too if we don't use it all, right?
I wouldn't anticipate this group not using all of it. I mean, you basically have 2 summers is what this is. So what I'm saying is don't spend it all now, because the next summer comes spring, there's no more.
Do you see our budget being replenished for next year?
I don't know, to answer that question. This is the first time that this has been done like this. And I
You-
think it shows a lot of support by council and city manager to give it this budget, so.
If you power wash that wall and it doesn't get painted before winter, are you gonna have to power wash it again in the spring, summer?
Well, since you brought that up, my opinion is that the wall should not be painted. I don't think a mural should be on there. I think it would look like blight, but that's my own personal opinion. I just wanted to share that.
So maybe we could clean it and then
It needs to be cleaned.
revisit this, you know, in other meetings to see what we want to do in the future, if anything. Because we still have a couple months here before the white stuff comes.
Just my own opinion.
So we could take roll call then.
Lucas Richardson.
Yes.
Kelly Greavy.
Yes.
Jermaine Sullivan.
What are we on?
Using the water supply.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Mary
Sorry.
Kay Wilcox.
Yes.
What I'll try to do is, we talked about having some beautification in the hip pocket. I'll try to work too about having some sidewalk stuff in my back pocket to give Lucas in case we have some time. Hey, what can we do in an hour? Here's the sidewalks here. And this group can decide they want to. I just want to make sure that if we are blessed enough to have people and then time left over, let's go hit these sidewalks or right of ways. 'Cause let's be honest, the sidewalks and right of ways are the first thing people feel,
Yep.
other than a big dilapidated house. So I'll have some stuff compiled, just we can pull out and go do 15 minutes here, just in case we're blessed enough to have that kind of resource.
So, the next item was exit interviews for the upcoming projects. So, did we want to have that form, Chief, printed out and just try to,
It's gonna be at every, I'll have a folder with all the,
Okay.
yeah, it'll be at the project site.
And I put
Totally
the
prepared.
Addresses on the
Awesome.
top.
I got a call back from 9th Street finally, so hopefully I can connect with her to get her first one back. 9th Street was the first project, so she called me Labor Day weekend, so.
Oh, good.
4th Street project that John did this past Saturday? I'm guessing we still have to do that exit interview, right?
Yeah, we'll have an officer do that one.
So this last, last item here, 3F, I thought it might be a good idea to have the copies of the rural development USDA stuff that Mary Kay had and just hand them out to the homeowners and just tell them about the program. You know, if they have additional blight that's at their house that they, you know, this could be a tool for them to use.
Yeah.
We don't have to shove it down their throats or anything, but I think it'd be nice.
Are you comfortable explaining those programs?
That's a great point, man. I know there's 2 houses that we're gonna be dealing with that essentially they need siding. And so it'd be great to use this basically cleanup as a mechanism to, hey, here's this. So it would be great.
The application, just keep them in my vehicle.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea, and, you know, if you need somebody by your side talking to the people or whatever, then
Scrap me.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's a good idea. All right. And then I had a note here for a good of the order to talk about what you've already talked about beautification projects in our back pocket. So Mary Kay sent me a while ago a list of some things that could be beautified. You have some of that too?
No, I was gonna talk about the same thing.
So I think if everybody has anything that they would like to see, or if people have told us to bring to the commission or whatever, just send that my way and I'll just make a big list and we'll just move on. If we get done, you know, we just check it off, keep moving down the list, and what we get done is what we get done.
But the list that you had, wasn't it for private?
It was just a mixture.
Okay, so what about the businesses? How does that work?
Yeah, you need-
Like the noxious weeds.
Yeah.
You need
So we've been sending those every other week to DPW, so if they are still there, if there's still problems, then
If,
Some of them are still there.
yeah, if we're talking about on project day, the ones we could just quick do, we probably should stick to public property just for permissions issues.
Yeah.
Let the DPW deal with that issue, and then, just so we don't have to get permissions, basically.
So sidewalk right away.
Yeah, it just so it can be quicker that way, then we can make sure that stuff's getting done well. I mean, all this, the communication's really great between this group, members of this group, and the DPW as far as those weeds, and I've got 4 emails the other day from, John McCracken about this things, so that, it's really increased the communication to the DPW as far as what are some of the issues out there, which is great. So,
And there's always a fallback of Blossom Boulevard too, because there's some sections in Blossom Boulevard that are not great, like 2 feet tall weeds.
Have they lost the volunteers?
There's sections that look really great. I think that they just don't have as many volunteers. You
Sure.
know?
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have anything for the good of the order?
If it's, as long as okay, I'd like to show the project that was just completed in the spirit of what we did, not we, but what was done this weekend. This was slated to be a project on Saturday. We got ahead of it, and so this is what we, I don't know if you guys can see this. Is it on all your screens?
Yes.
This is the project, as you can see, this is all right of way here. So there was quite a bit, and it sounds like it was more than they anticipated. This is the sidewalk here. Go here. And then here's some after shots of what they did. They chopped it all down, and there was a tree that gave them some problems, but my understanding was there's neighbors coming out of their houses, and that impacted that neighborhood, the right of way.
So do we need to put them back on our list for the remainder of the, by the house, or not?
There's continued communication. Sergeant Van Sickle went there and spoke with the homeowner, and it's kind of a unique situation here. So there might be some more work to be done there. But this was great. I mean, if you just look at the field now, regardless, it's just great.
Maybe we could keep that on our radar for once Sergeant Van Sickle gets back, and we can maybe.
Yeah, and there's some other resources we can inject into that house and the homeowner too, into that process maybe. But here's our vests. These are sent to me, and here's the students that created the vest here. So this is what our vest will look like. And then I'll have extra police vests just in case we have more volunteers. Maybe I'll have extra vests that we can put on, so we make sure we have vests on.
And I just wanted to say the expense of that, John paid for himself, yeah.
So those are the vests.
And I do want to thank John and his team, whoever did it, because they did a great job. Like a mess, and
Me
he
too.
did a terrific job, so thank you, John.
That's all I have when I show pictures. I think it's important to see that. I'm excited for Saturday.
Do we bring our own lunch, or are you taking us all out, or what?
Who's the you in that sentence? Might be something we let volunteers know. I mean, we can break for lunch unless Lucas is, you know, I don't know how much of a,
Leave the area.
how much is gonna crack the whip. but-
Nobody will come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
Don't let him go, is what you're
you
saying.
know, don't let them go.
Again, I think the key is to be flexible in the day, assess what resources we have, both people and tools, and be ready to pivot. I went out with John McCracken for an hour and a half, 2 hours, a couple projects. If you have 2 people, if you have 5 people, it's probably an hour, you know, it depends. So, and then I will make myself available to just be the in-betweener. If I need to go to a house and talk, okay. If I need to go run and get something, gas, more bags, we need to have those type of people that are willing to do that. So, of course, I'm the only person authorized to purchase things out of this budget, but I'll be ready to do that.
So are we asking the volunteers to bring anything? Because we're just not gonna have enough supplies.
We can add that into the.
Right, because they're all gonna stand there, and if we don't have enough shovels or enough anything, what are they gonna do?
Right.
You know, I mean, I'll bring my stuff and you bring yours, whatever,
I
but
think
still.
I think if you have the core people bring tools, tell them to bring their tools, I think we should be okay, but that is a big fear, like you get these people and like,
Right.
"Hey, you got me here on a Saturday,
Right,
am I gonna
well,
be
that's what I'm
doing?"
feeling, yeah.
You could almost, you know, give them a shovel, so yeah, I think it's important, everyone on this commission who plans on being there, bring as much as you can, tool-wise. If you wanna mark it or write your name on it, I can bring that too. But that does bring me to one issue, Lucas, if you forgive me here, that we didn't discuss. We have probably one project that might have rubbish in the driveway that we need to put someplace. What's the plan, and what are we doing with the rubbish?
My thought was that, because he's the one that doesn't want to part with his
No,
stuff.
no, we're
right?
skipping that one, that one's off
Oh.
the list. It's,
Is it
Fifth
the-
Avenue. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's a bunch of items in the driveway, do I have that right, that might be discarded?
Look like it, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Oh, I think.
we haven't talked to the homeowner about that, but.
yeah, so,
Well, so I think the best way to go about that is on the day we clean up and then we simply ask if there's some place that we can relocate it, or even to, I don't know, it sounds bad because it's moving the blight to a different spot, but maybe to put it in the backyard or something like that, so it's a little bit out of sight. I don't know, just try to,
Putting some out in the garbage day or something.
yeah, yeah, I recommend that's a good thought too. We should bring up the fact that the first day of the month, the bulk item pickup.
if it becomes a tremendous amount of rubbish, I would recommend, I don't know if the dump's open on Saturday, but I would certainly volunteer my truck to fill the back of the truck, just in the spirit of getting stuff done, and I can run it out to the dump. It'd be as simple as that, so keep that as far as a resource. If we find ourselves, we've got a truckload full of stuff, instead of kicking the can down the road, loading a truck, taking it to the dump, getting it done. So that's kind of why I brought that up. We talked about a dumpster before, but I don't think our project list warrants a dumpster. It'd be wasted money. And I think the dump is, depending on your truck bed size, 20 to 60 bucks for a truck bed. I can't remember. So just,
It's a lot cheaper than a
so
dumpster.
to go out there, that might be an option. If it ends up being, take all this stuff and throw it away, let's, in the spirit of getting it done, let's do that.
Sounds good.
And did you want something on social media? How do we want to communicate with volunteers? Is there a mass message we're putting out? Who's
That's,
doing that?
that's what I have to talk to Bill about after
Okay.
this, now that we have the time,
The
so I
messaging?
got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then share that with me so I can share it too.
Yep,
So-
yep, it'll be posted on the city page, so. And just a reminder, we did good today, but we wanna try to not talk about addresses, is what I've been told by the mayor and the city manager, try to keep these as private as we can.
The street is okay, just not
Yes,
the number,
yeah.
yeah.
We got next meeting, September 19th, we'll debrief from all the fun that we're gonna have on Saturday. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Sweet.